but then maybe just, my name is Suzanne Zaltz, I'm with ICWE, Local Governments for Sustainability, and I just really want to congratulate the government of Brazil and everybody that's been working on this. I think it's an excellent initiative. I've already joined, I've already looked at the debate on sustainable cities, and it's a great move, really.
Thank you very much.
Simone, and then Albert.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us this morning and for the invitation. My name is Simone Lopiar from the Global Forest Coalition. I'm also one of the co-facilitators for the NGO for the Cluster on Biodiversity, working with the CBD Alliance. We've noticed with some concern that biodiversity was not mentioned amongst one of the themes, and especially in the light of recent developments in Brazil, this is of even bigger concern to us. But of course, biodiversity is a cross-cutting theme, and to what extent, can it be assured that in issues like forests, oceans, etc., there is enough attention for the biodiversity aspects? And more in general, you already mentioned that there has been, both dialogue but also questioning by some of the Brazilian civil society. I mean, we are getting indeed some concerns from the members of our constituency in Brazil itself about the way this has been organized. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes. First on the biodiversity, of course, this is an issue that we will appear on some of the themes, and now we have, by presidential decision, I have to say, we have included forests as a 10th theme that wasn't there before. We were working with 9 themes, and President Rousseff decided that there should be a 10th, and that's forests. As for biodiversity, the space that it will get in each of the dialogues will depend basically on the online discussions and on how the members of each panel decide to include that. As I said, and that's very important, the government of Brazil will not take part in the discussions themselves. There will be no government in that. So biodiversity, there are other very important issues on the international agenda for sustainable development that are not there, because we had to choose. So that people say why governance is not there, why green economy is not there, why climate change is not there. But they're all good, excellent, important themes. But we had to have a limited list of themes, and the chosen list was that. As for Brazilian civil society, I may be a little bit over-optimistic, but the fact is, every time we meet with them and explain to them, the reaction we get is very positive. The doubts come from those sectors that do not know exactly what that is. And they say, for instance, but we didn't participate in the definition of the themes. So, as I said before, there is a degree of discretionarity by the Brazilian government. We've decided themes, we've decided with the inputs of civil society, but we decided more or less on the formatting. But we are providing the space. That's, I think, the major point. I'd like to make a quick reference to the online discussions. It was mentioned that the professors. Just to explain how we got to those professors, why those universities. Again, the idea was to have objective criteria. We have 3 universities involved in each theme, one from a developed country, one from a developing country, and a Brazilian one. So again, criteria. The other thing I'd like to mention that I skipped in my presentation is that for the audience will be by invitation only. And we very much count on the major groups to indicate people to attend. We will, in a way, have the audience split between Brazilian civil society and the major groups. The numbers are still being worked out, but through the executive coordinators, we will let you know how many seats will go for the major groups, and we very much would like to have your help in telling us those people should attend.
Please.
My name is Shani Mehta. mission of IUCN to the United Nations. And first of all, I wanted to congratulate you on this process, and I think it's wonderful that this is taking place. We wanted to know specifically, have there been decisions made about who the panel participants are? And if so, is that information available?
Yes, as I said, we do have now a first list of the 100 people that are in the process of being invited. The information is not public because there will be necessarily a second round of invitations. So we don't want to pass the impression that this person was second choice or was this kind of sensibility. But I can give you bits and pieces. For instance, the Women's Major Group here at the UN provided us with an excellent list, and we incorporated lots of those suggestions into what we're calling the A list, the first one. But I wouldn't go into too much into detail because of this kind of sensibilities.
Thank you very much.
Michelle Morick from Unanima International, and we thank you for all the work you've done on this. Will all the panels be available online for those who can't get into the venue? And if so, I suppose the opportunity for translation would be limited. I presume all the presentations would be in different languages.
Yes, we will have, first of all, yes, there will be broadcasting on the UN. We will take care of that, and also streaming online, so people will be able to watch. As for translation, also the UN is providing us with interpretation on the 6 official languages, and we will add Portuguese to that, so the discussions will it will be able to speak any of those 7 languages in the discussions. As for the broadcasting, I don't know how it works regarding translation, I really don't, but there's something we have to look into. And but of course, at least English and Spanish should be available.
In the back, in the middle.
Good morning, Marcelo. Well, I'm Yara Pietrikowski, and I'm here on behalf of the People Summit event and process. What I would like to first highlight is that we are in a very deep and good negotiation with the Brazilian government. It's a real process, mainly the federal government, not so easy with the local government. But anyway, we are trying to do our best. What I would like to highlight here is that the People Summit is not part of this process of dialogues. We don't agree with the process. We were not part of the process. And we are sending a formal letter to the government saying that we don't, the reasons why we are not, but of course all the networks and forums and international groups that are free to be part and be there. But for us it's not an open process. And I just would like to highlight the difficulties that we are dealing with this specific process, and we decided last weekend that we will not be part of. Thank you.
Yes, if we just have a reaction to that. Yes, we've been talking to people that are involved with the People Summit, and it's very important. I should have highlighted that from up front.
Excuse me, but maybe you can just say what is civil society when you talk,
Yes.
when you conceptualize civil society, who is who? Because
Exactly.
we as civil society and social movements, we are not part of this civil society that you are.
Yes. First, just to finish with the
Sorry,
idea
sorry,
of well,
but-
what's the connection with the People Summit. This is in no way, this is totally different. So the People Summit is civil society itself working on this is, organizing and preparing their meeting. And this is the People Summit. And there are other also events in Rio. So the dialogues is something different, totally different. It's no, some people thought, so this is for civil society is here. No, this is an additional space provided for civil society. The way the broader way of defining civil society along the UN lines, the major groups. That's how we see it. And in no way it should be perceived as encroaching upon the People's Summit. That's very important. I'd like to stress that very much. The People's Summit is a different process, and this is by civil society, for civil society. Our process is, again, the Brazilian government with the UN providing this space for representatives of civil society defined along the UN lines, major groups. So there is business, there is a scientific community, the women, indigenous people, youth, labor, local governments. That's the way we see it. And we tried to identify, also asking Brazilian civil society to give us names. Many of the names will be included. There are people involved in the People's Summit that will be invited to participate in their personal capacity. So I appreciate the distinction you made. We don't see any incompatibility between the two. On the contrary, we expect, in a way, to provide some channels of communications. I was in Rio in '92, and in '92, the mere fact that the Aterro meeting took place was a big thing, because that was new. But to tell you frankly, the decisions of the Aterro never reached the heads of state. Not at all. We're trying to provide something new and say, well, maybe it's not enough, maybe it's too little, maybe that's okay. But it's a first step, and we'd like to think that this is a precedent that can be improved upon, and ultimately we could reach some way of having civil society, of empowering civil society in a more clear way, so that their discussions, their decisions, their recommendations reach the heads of state, and not only circulating documents that we know don't have that much effect.